Stretching is a scam. Stretching is bullshit. Stretching does not work the way you do. If you're gonna study something that's freaking worth it.
Yeah.
And I made this mistake at times as well where, lucky for me, it wasn't as bad, but studying is not everything. It really is not everything. 7th to 8th grade was my party years. I went all out. I did it early. I got suspended in school in 7th grade because I got caught with a vape. My dad beat my ass. I was grounded for over a year, and all I could do was go to the gym, school. But yeah, if you're sick or you're not sick, you should be eating creatine. You should be having creatine every single day. Most important variable here, you have still been getting results, even though you've not been training to failure, right?
Yeah.
This kind of proves my point.
Yeah.
Consistency is the most important thing. Exposure, it's a game of exposure at the end of the day.
Woo! Welcome back, guys, on another episode on the Unscripted show. Today's guest is a very, very, very special guest. He was here on the first run of me doing podcasts, one of the first few, actually. Now he's back for another round. Intense questions. Thank you for being here, Emad. Thank you, man.
My man, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, bro. I can't wait.
No. I mentioned this. I said this last time, and I'm gonna say it again. The pleasure's all mine.
Thank you, bro. No, thank you, bro. I'm very happy that you're back again on another episode. The first one we had good one. You know, I still get likes on one of the clips that we posted.
The vape one.
The vape one. The vape one. I still get likes. You know, and then the comments are funny as well. And it's like, so trust me, bro. And I said, yeah. But I can't wait for the questions. This time around, it's gonna be completely different. Because I think the lifestyle, so I was talking from a perspective differently then. My lifestyle has been a 180. So the question
shows, bro.
Really?
It shows. Yeah, it shows.
I've been trying, bro. I've been trying. That's why, like, the questions I'm going to be asking today are going to be so personal. People are going to relate. Hopefully they do. But before I get into that, I want to ask you some questions, about your life ever since then. So you have your company, MB Only Games. Before we dive too deep into that, you've kind of also, you're a champion, or you've won a couple awards in the WNBF, natural bodybuilding. Come on. Okay. But so I want to kind of understand. So through that time, your physical health has kind of evolved, and it showcases that. So there's two aspects. So what was your mentality and your physical health? Where do they stand now after all this time?
I think let me give a kind of a bit of an introduction to myself before I kind of give that answer. So to the guys that I have never been, they weren't here for the first episode that I was here for a long time ago. My name is Emad Deznabi. I am Persian, and I have been an athlete for pretty much all my life. I used to play ice hockey, semi-amateur level ice hockey in the UAE. And I transitioned into bodybuilding, and I'm a professional natural bodybuilder now. I am coaching some of the best natural bodybuilders in the world. What else can I say? I'm a med student. That's a big thing that we'll get into today.
He's an entrepreneur as well.
Sure, yes, that too.
Yeah.
And overall, just some guy getting along. Yeah, just some guy getting along.
Look at you being too humble, man. Look at you.
I know what you're talking about. But man, that's a good question. You know, in terms of how my mentality has changed since becoming a WNBF pro, the big thing I would say is I was very lucky to find gym and sports at a very, very young age. When I was in middle school, all my friends were, alcohol was becoming a thing. Everybody was going partying and stuff. I was skipping that shit.
Yeah.
I did it early. I did it very early. 7th to 8th grade was my party years. I went all out. I did it early. I got suspended in school in 7th grade because I got caught with a vape. My dad beat my ass. I was grounded for over a year, and all I could do was go to the gym, school, and even they put a timer on the Wi-Fi, and I didn't even have access to Wi-Fi. So all I did was gym. And over time, here I am. So, I built that mentality very, very early on. And I kind of realized that the gym was a beautiful thing because it kind of told me everything is in my control.
Yeah.
Every good is my fault. Every medium is my fault. Every bad is my fault. And this gives you control. And I think as a man in general, this is one of the best mentalities that you can ever have. whether it comes down to your lifestyle, whether it comes down to your relationships, whether it comes down to anything. When you understand you're in control of 99% of things, it's a very, very powerful tool. So after becoming a WMBF pro, it just kind of like stamped my mentality. I'm like, this is right. Yeah, it made sense.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it's meant to be.
But that's, so you said something about the gym. Everything is in your control. This I figured out recently. You know, after I started to go to the gym, but you know this, I've never liked going to the gym.
Yeah.
I was more of like let me go to the gym and then leave exhausted. So I used to do a lot of boxing at the time. But recently, maybe because of everything I've been going through, or just work or something, gym is like just peace.
Yeah.
It's just peace, bro. But I have a lot of questions when it comes to the right way to go to the gym. But before then, you, as you mentioned, you're a med student, entrepreneur. You train and you coach people. So, but how does that all work out? So I'm speaking from, you know, as an entrepreneurial side.
Yeah.
How do you balance all that?
That is the key question to everything, right? How do you balance everything? And the beauty of it is you have to be looking at this from a different perspective to begin with. A lot of people are going to look at it and be like, oh, I have to go train. Oh, I have to work. No, you get to work.
Yeah.
You get to train. First thing is you got to change your perspective. You got to understand that you are blessed to be able to do this.
100%. Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, somebody somewhere in the world, in a blink of an eye, would change places with you because they're actually working hard, it will completely shift your perspective. So that's the first thing. And the second part is, how do I actually balance it? Man, when it comes to training, so many people have so many messed up rules that makes no sense. You got to train this many times. You got to do this. You got to do that. Over the past 10 weeks, I mean, I did it in about 6 weeks, but over the past 10 weeks during Ramadan, I lost 10 kilos of body fat training no more than 15 minutes a day.
Really?
I don't train any more than 15 minutes a day. Before, as a matter of fact, before this podcast, I was literally training. And
okay.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. I'm going to be like 10, 15 minutes late. So I literally trained and I pulled up. So anything to do with your training or even with your food is so flexible, man. There's so many rules that you got to do this. You got to try and train this way. You got to do whatever complements your lifestyle and allows you to adhere to it long term is going to be the thing that produces the most amount of results. So in terms of training, that is amazing. You can definitely go ahead and do all of that. Second thing is, when it comes to you having good people around you, you can definitely go ahead and build an amazing team that can help you in terms of your business, in terms of your entrepreneurship, and etc. However, at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to sit down and I'm not going to give all these strategies and I'm going to say, at the end of the day, you just got to hustle.
Yeah.
Like that's the pure
just
end
work,
of or be all. Like, you're going to have days you're going to be tired. You're going to have days where you're not going to want to.
Exactly. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there is going to be people that are going to do it and they're going to have successful businesses. If you want to be that person that also has a successful business, you can't complain. You just got to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the results are going to come no matter what. Exactly. It's all going to come down to hustle. You can watch this podcast until next year. You can watch the next podcast about how this guy says, oh, do this strategy. Just hustle. At the end of it, it comes down to hard work. One more thing I would also say about what I'm studying, the beauty of it is that it's my passion. It's the next step as a coach.
It complements your life in a way, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So because of that, it's like, I enjoy it. I love it. It's my day-to-day stuff. I see it when I work with clients.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's not something that I'm really going out of my way to kind of do. So that's why if you're going to study something, something that, you know, you can see it every day.
Exactly.
Right?
I think the best way to learn is if you apply it in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like again, with what I'm studying, not everything is applied to, let's say, my day-to-day life in running a company, for example. But there are some courses I genuinely enjoy doing just because whatever I learn, like the minute I go home or I'm doing something,
you can already think about where it's being applied.
Exactly. So that's university is important if done right.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're doing it just for the purpose of getting a degree, I think
I didn't go to uni myself. After finishing high school, I was given a scholarship to go and study in St. Mary's University in the UK for nutrition. I declined it. I didn't go. Why? Because I was like, it's not an obvious move to me.
Yeah.
I stayed back. I coached. I turned pro. I built my business up. And now I have some time on my hands. I was like, you know what? What's the next big step?
Mm-hmm.
I like this idea of having knowledge, but I'm like, what's more I can achieve? Like, you know what? Medicine sounds cool.
Yeah.
Because I know how to prevent issues from happening before they become problematic.
Yeah.
Now I want to learn how to deal with them when they become problematic. And then here's the thing. A lot of people think I want to do this to go and become a doctor and work in a hospital. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I want to I want to become a doctor, but I don't want to work in a hospital. Apply that into coaching.
Exactly.
So now you're not being coached by Man's Big, you're being coached by Dr.
Doctor,
Man's Big.
yes.
So, yeah.
A little bit more professional. You know, now that, I don't know, do you still compete?
So this is a good question. I'm going to announce it here. I just got my USA visa approved. So
Okay.
I don't know, maybe we might cook.
Maybe.
We might cook.
But so I want to ask, so let's say if you're not competing and let's say you're competing, what's your training regimen looking like? The same?
No difference.
The same.
It should be the exact same.
Really?
A lot of people don't realize this, but competing should just be something that happens on your path.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be something that you should be going out of your way for.
Mm-hmm.
That's how people end up building really bad relationships with competing. They hate competing.
Yeah.
You usually have two sides of people when they go ahead and compete. You're going to have the guy that really hates it, and you're going to have the guy that falls in love with it.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to base my whole life on this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have this, it's like the guy that hated it is going to be left with such a bad scar because he's just going to be building such a bad relationship with his food, with his lifestyle, etc. But the thing is, if you would have just fixed your lifestyle, like competing would have just happened.
It would have been the natural thing, normal thing. Day to day.
Exactly. So there shouldn't be any difference in your training or in your lifestyle, whether or not you want to compete or not.
You know, that's strange to hear, bro, because I've seen a lot, you know, these Instagram videos and all that, and then you see the people cutting weight and the first donut after.
Here's the thing: strategies to get to a show, because you have this goal that you want to compete in this certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
That time factor is important to you. Like, you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But are you going to be the best of the best? Absolutely not. If you look at some of the best bodybuilders in the world, some of the best natural bodybuilders in the world, some of the best in general bodybuilders in the world, they're usually the older guys.
Mm-hmm.
And these are guys that have time under the belt. It takes time to build muscle. It's not
it's
something
quick.
that happens overnight.
Unlike, you know, if you take steroids, but that's a different story.
The talk about drugs is a very interesting one, because even if you take drugs,
Mm-hmm.
I could argue that if you just, like, it's anecdotal. This is a bit of an anecdotal talk, okay? But when you take a bodybuilder, you can almost tell if this guy has grown more so because of drugs or more so because he's had more time under his belt.
Okay.
And typically you see it in people that have these deep cross striations. For example, when they pose, you can see these deep cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that just comes from a few years of drugs or a little bit of drug exposure. This takes time.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that have these deep, super deep cuts is people that have cooked that muscle for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you take steroids and you get some result, I could even argue about this. Why would you even want to get a good physique?
Yeah, it's like personal preference, right?
Let's say, for example, in your case, you want to get a good physique because it gives you confidence.
Yeah, of course. Confidence just makes me feel good, yeah.
Cool. This is a very good topic that you brought up.
Yeah.
Let's say if you take steroids, or let's say if you were born with an amazing physique from day one.
Yeah.
Would you think you would value that good physique the same way you value it now because you didn't have a good physique for majority of your life?
No.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So is it the physique that gives you confidence, or is it the ability in the back of your mind that you know, I have controlled my mind, I have controlled my temptations to not want to go to the gym, and I've controlled my ability to go to the gym, and now you have the confidence in your mind that you can do anything. Is that what gives you confidence, or is it the physique that gives you confidence?
That's a nice point. So it's I would say it's going to the gym consistently for a good period of time. Seeing the results after working hard, that gives you the confidence, yeah.
Agreed. Exactly.
It's a mental thing.
Exactly.
More of a physical thing.
100%. 100%.
That's crazy.
The ability that you know that now, if I want to make something happen, I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gives you confidence, not the actual physique itself.
Yeah.
Right? The physique is a big bonus thing. And this is also why we have a lot of guys nowadays that have body dysmorphia when it comes to physiques and etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something a little while ago. It was said that roughly we could expect male body dysmorphia to be taken over women body dysmorphia in the next 2 decades.
Really?
Yeah. So It's the confidence thing, man.
Yeah.
And think about it. How much would that actually affect you positively in your business? How much would that positively affect you in other aspects of your life?
A lot,
Right?
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's you know, let me tell you this. So Ramadan just finished. It was in April of this year. So before Ramadan, I was going to the gym consistently for a good period of time. You know, I was going for maybe around 30 days, and I was taking creatine, my best friend. All right, I love it. I don't know what it does, but I love it. It makes me look more. I don't know, bigger. I don't know.
Got you.
You know, so Ramadan came in. I didn't go to the gym, so I was like, I'll stop creatine at the time. I don't know if it's the right move. Let me know if it's the right move. I stopped creatine completely, and now I'm back at the gym. Like you said, because I'm being consistent at the gym. I want to go. I want to, do this. For me, it hasn't reached that phase where it's like, oh, shit, I hate the way I look. It's just more of like, let me go get a good workout. I feel good after getting a good workout. So I'm at the point in time now, okay, I'm seeing results. The only thing is I'm scared, let's say, or I'm not scared, but I'm paranoid. Let's say, what if I'm doing things wrong? And I have a question now regarding the workouts. So what if I'm doing things wrong? And then what if I'm not working out the right way? What would you say is, so it's probably just a mental thing.
Yeah.
Right? But do you ever feel like, let's say if I'm doing a workout for a certain period of time, how do you know if your workout is right?
That's a good thing. I mean, you got some really good points there. Let me just break them out piece by piece. But first thing about creatine. If you're old, if you're young, if you're training, if you're not training, if you're sick, if you're not sick, talk to your doctor about this. But yeah, if you're sick or you're not sick, you should be eating creatine. You should be having creatine every single day. Because the thing is, what even is creatine? Where is it coming from? You have creatine in meat. But the thing is, if you want to hit your creatine goal, which is roughly around for average individual, everybody, somewhere around 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, you'd have to consume roughly around 1.5 kilos of red meat every day to hit that. Obviously, it's impossible, right? For a lot of people. I mean, you can have the jackass that's watching this saying, oh, no, I'm going to do it. Okay, bro, if you're going to do it, good for you. Right? But here's the thing. Majority of people are not going to be able to do it. So you should be consuming creatine. Creatine is one of the most well-studied supplements in the entire world. It has 0 side effects. 0. I don't care who tells me what. Unless you can prove it with actual studies, or even I'm open to anecdotes, by the way. Tell me something. Let's actually look at it. The main side effects that people talk about when it comes to creatine is 4 main ones. Water retention is one. Hair loss is another. Kidney damage is another. And I mean, if you're worried about your pockets hurting, that's another one. Right? Let's go through them one by one. Water retention. In the very beginning, when you actually get started on it, you might gain a little bit of water retention, but your body actually goes through something called homeostasis. Like it will try to actually rebalance homeostasis. So it will balance how much water is actually in your body. And most of it, what will happen is most of that water is going to go intracellular. So it's going to enter your cells. It's going to hydrate your cells. So it is fantastic. More brain activity, better muscular contractions, better energy, etc. Creatine is fantastic. Second thing that a lot of people think about is hair loss. Now, this is based off of a study that was done, I think it was in 2009, on a group of rugby players where they gave them creatine and they realized their DHT levels raised up. DHT is basically like, if I was to explain it to you in a way, it's like a derivative of testosterone that usually affects the hair follicles.
This is the first time I've heard of this,
DHT?
No, this is the first time.
Hair loss.
Yes, hair loss from creatine. I've heard of kidney failure and this. If you don't drink enough water, you're going to, I don't know what. But the hair loss one is new.
Yeah, so they say that, for example, based off of that study, the DHT levels of those players had actually raised up. And because of that, it could have led to hair loss. However, there was a brand new study that came out much more recently that specifically focused on this, and they realized there had nothing to do with
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. So the creatine does not cause hair loss whatsoever.
I saw a video of like a woman saying that she gives creatine to like her grandparents because it's good.
Yeah, right? It's fantastic. Especially for grandparents. Think about it. We have a lot of studies showing the actual elderly. What is the reason why they actually start to get a very, very poor quality of life and actually starts the end to their life? It actually starts with falling. Majority of these guys fall they hurt something, and from there they start to not move. Because of that, they start to pick up metabolic diseases like diabetes, etc. And then that leads to one thing or another, and then over time you see this guy's like, unfortunately, this elderly is dying. Right. So creatine, fantastic thing, helps build more muscle, helps brain activity. It has the amounts of benefits that is coupled with creatine is unbelievable. And then the last thing that I mentioned was kidney damage. This is one of the biggest retarded things in the entire world.
It's a big misconception.
It's a big myth. It's a big misconception. When you go and do a blood test, there is something that you can test for your kidneys. It's a waste product called creatinine. What this is if you're just having a hard labor life, if you're working out, if you're not drinking enough water, what happens is your creatinine levels are just going to raise up. It's a waste product, right? But here's the thing. People think creatine causes creatinine levels to go up. This is a completely unrelated thing.
I'm starting to understand why. But
Creatine, you could take creatine and you could work out more, and your creatinine levels are naturally going to come up. It's not dangerous. Nothing's going to happen. If you're hydrating, if you're resting, if you're eating well enough, it's harmless. Not a problem. And if you are actually hydrating, you're resting, and etc., your creatinine levels will not even come up. So completely unrelated. So nothing to do with that. It's very similar to food cholesterol leading to elevation in actual body cholesterol. Not related. Right? It's a lot more due to how much overall body fat you got on. Now, some people are also going to tell you that there is a direct effect of LDL levels being raised up due to how much sugars, fructose you have, and so it's overall cholesterol is a big topic. When you look at it from a bigger perspective, it's just the problem of overconsumption, and having higher levels of body fat. That's it.
That's crazy, man. It's. Bro, you explaining, I don't know. So essentially when I started on creatine, the simple way I understood is it pushes water into your muscles.
It's a pretty decent thing. And even about the idea behind kidneys failing, if creatine hydrates you more, it's actually better for your kidneys.
Why is your kidney? It makes sense.
It's actually way better for your kidneys.
But you have a certain phrase that you keep saying in your content. It's changing your physique is easy only when you know how. Right. So what is again? Sometimes people who work out can often feel like some sort of paranoia. Or am I working out right? Am I doing the right thing? How do I know if I'm doing the right thing? So first question would be, what would you think is a good sign to know if you're doing the right thing? And then what is the best way to find out what is the right way to change your physique?
Fantastic question. Let me break it down in a way where it will make more sense. Let's say right now, if you wanted very amazing white teeth, what would you do?
Get my teeth whitened.
Okay. And you would, on a regular basis,
brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth, right? So if we're looking at it from the bigger perspective, if now I want a good physique, what's the thing I would go and do? I would train, right? And I would train regularly. That's the first most important thing, right? Once you're ticking that off, you're training regularly, however many days in the week it is that actually complements your lifestyle. For me, I train every day.
Okay.
Every single day, 7 days a week. I wake up 15 minutes, I'm in the gym, I'm done.
No rest days?
No rest days.
Okay.
Right? And the reason for that is because the way I've programmed my training, I'm in the gym for 15 minutes. That's
wow.
it. I'm in the gym for 15 minutes. A lot of people don't believe me. Please watch my videos on YouTube. I have uploaded many training videos on my YouTube channel. I train for 15 minutes.
And that's it.
That's it. Right?
That's crazy.
15 minutes. Anything can work. That's the thing. Now, the second thing you would want to go ahead and take a look at once you have established a base of how many days in the week that you're going to be training is start to actually track data on your training. And what this data could be is I'm doing, let's say, 3, 4, 5 exercises, and I am actually doing 3 sets of, let's say, 10. I'm going to be tracking and seeing if my strength is going up. Let's say if today I can do 8 reps with 100 kilos. Next time I come back, I'm going to try to do 9 kilos. And over a period of time, I should see an upward trend of my strength going up. That's the most important thing. And then the third thing is at the end of the day, you're doing this for a visual goal. Look at your visuals. Does your chest look small? Does your triceps look small? Does your biceps look small? If so, do more work for it. That's simple. If you see your data is not trending upwards, And if you see that your visuals are not improving, that's your two big mistakes.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't care how many people are going to say, oh, no, you have to try doing less volume or less. Man, at the end of the day, exposure is the game. It's a game of exposure. How much exposure you got, how much adaptation you can have, can you adapt? That's also the bigger thing. Because these two variables are telling us exactly this. Am I stimulating enough? And am I adapting?
Yeah.
Because if I'm stimulating enough and I'm adapting, I'm going to be able to see the visual change and I'm going to see an upwards trend happen in my data. So that's it. You don't need to look at all these other complicated things and etc. And, you know, a lot of people actually make a certain mistake where, for example, there's a big topic, right? What's more important? And I remember we even had this topic, we discussed this last time, and I had a different opinion to what I do have now.
Yeah.
Where I said everything kind of complements each other. You know, is training more important? Is food more important? Or is sleep more important?
Yeah.
And some people can even bring steroids into this equation. But which one's more important? Was the topic of discussion last time. And I said it's like a train, right? It all complement each other. In order for the train to be loaded up, you need fuel. In order for the train to move, you need sleep. And in order for the direction of the train to be moved, you need training, right? This is a very good analogy. I still stand by it. It works very well. But if we want to break this down into what is the most important variable, this might come as a shock to you, but it's actually training.
Really?
It's not food.
It's not food, yeah?
It's not sleep. It's training. And I'll explain it to you why. Let's say if you miss out on an hour of your sleep tonight, right? You can make it up tomorrow.
Yes.
Most people will realize if you don't sleep 1 hour, there's a theory that I like to call sleep debt. And it's not perfect. You cannot perfectly make it up in duration because quality is a hidden variable in that too. But you can to a very big degree. If you miss some sleep tonight, you can make it up tomorrow. If you miss some calories tonight, you can make it up tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you miss today's training session, you cannot make it up tomorrow because let's say if you miss Sunday's session and you try to make it up on Monday, now next week when you have that Sunday session, you've had an uneven amount of rest days until that Sunday session again.
That's true.
So the most important thing is the thing that is completely reliant on time, and that is training. So training is the end of and be all of this whole entire game. You can have someone that doesn't even have perfect nutrition, but if you stimulate their body enough, they will actually go ahead and build muscle. Really? It's pretty wild. You don't need a perfect nutritional environment to go ahead and build muscle. You just need consistent stimulation so that body has to actually adapt. We have studies showing this up.
That's
this is
crazy,
really cool.
Bro. I always, and you hear this a lot from private trainers. If you were to have a private trainer, they say 70% of the work is done outside the gym because of the food.
Of course. Here's the thing. I'm not saying nutrition and sleep is not important. I prioritize the shit out of my sleep and my food.
How many hours do you sleep a day?
I sleep at least at a minimum 8 hours, right?
Oh,
and I do my best to keep it at a very good time. But of course, at the end of the day, you have some mismatch with balance of work and etc. So you're going to have some ups and downs. But training.
Training is it.
Training
being
is
consistent.
Being consistent, don't miss a day. But here's the thing. You can only train so far, right? It can go so far. And then at some point, it's going to become limited by how much your sleep and food is. At that point, you need that extra support, right? But here's the thing. If you take the average Joe and you want to give that average Joe results, if you had to prioritize one thing, training. 100% training. If you eat food and you lose weight, you're not training or doing anything. This I can tie it into Manjaro use, by the way. This is a very cool
Really,
thing.
yeah.
Let's say right now, if you just lose weight, you're not training, you're not doing anything, what's going to happen? Do you think you're going to gain, do you think you're going to hold on to your muscle mass, or do you think you're going to lose body fat and, or you're going to lose everything? If you're just losing weight, you're going to lose everything.
Yeah.
If you're just eating now and gaining weight, are you going to build muscle?
No,
you're going to get fatter.
Exactly.
So that just shows you, you need a stimulation for your body to go ahead and do something.
Yeah.
You can build muscle in a deficit when you're losing weight. You can build muscle at holding your weight maintenance. You can still build muscle in a weight gaining phase. And here's the funny part. You can still lose fat while gaining weight. This is pretty mind-blowing. I can put some case studies of some of my clients that we've actually done this with. But it's completely relevant to how much adaptation do you actually have to stimulation.
Yeah.
You can usually see it with newbie guys, the guys that don't have much adaptation, and you bring them into the gym and you start stimulating that muscle and you start feeding them more food, you'll realize this person is actually getting leaner as his weight is going up.
Yeah.
You can lose fat while you're in a surplus. It is pretty mind-boggling.
Really?
It's pretty cool.
But so I wanted to ask, man. So I'm quite, let's say, new to the gym. There are some mistakes that I've probably been making along the line. One of them I'm going to say, and you're going to look at me like, what are you doing? But in my workouts, I essentially, regardless of what I'm doing, the way that I work now is push, pull, legs, and repeat. In my exercises, I don't go till failure. So the reason I don't go till failure is every time I do go to failure, I get a massive headache. So I just try and avoid that at all cost, even if I drink more water, regardless what happens. I think I see it as a mistake as a beginner, but along with that, what is another mistake that you see new people going to the gym,
So
make?
this is very good. Let's talk about what you just mentioned about you for a second. Most important variable here, you have still been getting results, even though you've not been training to failure, right?
Yeah.
This kind of proves my point.
Yeah.
Consistency is the most important thing. Exposure, it's a game of exposure at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So right now, you have been training consistently for some time. You've completed level 1, right? And you've been getting the result. Now, the next level is you start to track your data. Now, why do we say it's smart for you to actually train to failure? The reason is because failure is not real. Failure is not real. You don't know what failure is. I don't know what failure is. Failure is just how much can you go ahead and push compared to how much you're convinced that you really need to be trying your best to push. Let's say if I put a gun to your head and you truly believe that I was going to pull this trigger, if you did not push, do you think you could push a lot more? Of course you can.
Yeah, of course.
If your life is dependent on it, that's going to be how hard you push. But here's the thing. It's very hard to actually get someone to go ahead and do that consistently every single time. And we don't actually have any tool to measure this. So it makes sense that we keep this as a consistent variable. Second variable that we have is form. The thing with form is that it basically tells us and it allows us to actually accurately dictate which muscle group or which joints are going to be taking more of this workload that's going to be hitting them. So for example, if I'm doing a bench press and I bring my arms closer and I start to get a lot more elbow flexion, this is going to be turning this movement into a different movement called a JM press. But the difference between a chest press and a JM press, although they look the same, is that this is a lot more elbow torque demands, right? There's more demands on my elbows, so therefore it's going to be training my triceps. Now, form allows us to place the load on specific areas that we want. The problem with form is that it's not really applicable. I'm not going to send you to the gym with a protractor and a ruler and whatnot and see what you're doing, where you're placing your hands and etc.
For me, for example, the way that I see if I'm doing the form right is I drop the weight and then I just do on a light weight until I feel some sort of burn in the area I'm trying to target, and I'm like, okay.
So a really good way for you to actually dictate form is find an area. Let's say, for example, if I'm doing a barbell bench press, I'm going to find the place on the bar where I'm going to keep my hands on that area consistently every single time. If I'm doing a squat, I'm going to keep my feet on a certain area on the machine or something. Find a way to keep it consistent, right? And the last variable that we got is volume. Now, volume is just a simple calculation of how much workload you are producing in a certain exercise. Let's say if I'm doing a bench press and I'm doing 100 kilos for 10 reps. If I multiply these together, now I know that I've been producing, let's say, 1,000 total workload from that one set. Now you take that equation, add it to another set, add it to another set, add it to another. This shows us the overall exposure that we've had in a session. Right? So the main thing is, if we now know these three variables, we can create a system with them. You can create a system that actually allows volume growth to be very closely correlated to muscle gain, right? But here's the thing. If intensity is up one day, if it's down one day, if it's up one day, then volume growth is not going to be perfectly equating to intensity. There's many different ways to do it. You can have someone that actually pushes to failure, and you can have someone that has basically created a system where more intensity equals more muscle gain, and you can have someone that has created a system where more volume equals to more muscle gain, or you can have someone that actually has progression of form equal to more muscle gain. So to me, this system makes most sense because it's very simple. It's very broken down. Keep the two variables that we cannot perfectly control consistent, and the one variable that we can control, keep it as a moving variable that's allowed for change. So understanding this, you understand intensity, you understand training now.
That's true,
Right? So now about the headaches. This is actually very cool. Now, this could be exertion headaches, where as in most people, when they're in the very beginning, you can have a lot of dysfunctions going on and etc. For example, you have we call it overactive tight traps and etc. Where blood flow to your brain is a little bit lower and whatnot. I don't agree. I don't entirely agree with this thought. But 99% of the time, this question that I'm about to ask you will answer. Have you ever had any injuries?
In general? Yeah.
Around your shoulders?
No.
Elbows?
No.
Wrists?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you see how I've kind of pinpointed that out already?
Yeah.
Because it's a compensation pattern. Let's say, for example, if your wrists have been bothering you over time, your shoulders will kind of compensate on a bench press or something. This will lead to compensations of other muscles taking over. And sometimes when these muscles take over, you can start to get some pain and etc. Right?
Okay.
So right now, you need to rehab your wrists completely. If you don't have full functions of your wrists, your body's going to keep on compensating.
Okay.
Most people that actually, it's very funny because I could pinpoint this out. Oh, I get tight traps or I get stiff neck. Have you had any injuries? They're going to say, yeah. And then I'm going to be like, okay, has it been in your shoulders, elbows, wrists? They're going to be like, no. And then I could even go down and say, lower back, foot, knee, one side. They're going to say, eventually it's going to come down to something very cool. And it's usually one side that they've hurt. And over time, that has compensated. So our body is amazing. Our body is one of the most mind-boggling things in the entire world.
Yeah.
What we call peripheral tissues, so the muscles and the tissues that we have that are distant from our bodies are very highly adaptable. You can you can break a leg and you could still find a way to walk. You could you could do a lot of cool things if you hurt yourself, and that's because our bodies are very adaptable. Now, if this adapts and it's causing you pain, it's a problem, right? But our bodies are doing it because they only care about two things really, which is reproduction and survival, right? Yeah. So right now you hurt your wrists, your body hasn't been, it might have gave you pain at some point in time to try and tell you, hey, Zeyad, fix it, yeah. Right? But if you didn't fix it, it's tried to find a way to make sure that your survival is non-negotiable, right? So now with the pain and the headache, this is definitely something that I would recommend you to take a look at. Is take a look at what's going on with your wrists, because that's probably the thing that's causing the compensation to take over. And take a look at what's going on with your shoulders, upper back, elbows. Your body needs to have ability of movement. A lot of people will tell you, oh no, hold your shoulder blades back when you bench press and etc. These are all wrong. If you have pain during movement, you need to fix that movement. It's not a little fix of a form tweak or something. Right? Our bodies are not fragile. Our bodies are able to do some incredible things. So that's the topic of injury.
It's a crazy, bro. It's crazy what the body can do.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And I could tie this into how I don't believe medicine is very, very interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I think medicine is... now I might get shot in the head by Big Pharma for saying a lot of these things. Yeah. But yeah.
That's crazy. I'm going to ask you that later down the line, but I wanted to...
You're going to get me shot, bro.
I wanted to kind of go back to an important question. Kind of dived into the failure thing too much, but it was the biggest mistakes you see new people kind of do.
So the biggest mistake that I see new people kind of do is that they waste their time. Like... How many times have you said this to yourself? Oh, I'm going to try and start tomorrow. Or I'm going to try to start after Ramadan. Or I'm going to try and start after next week. Because you also say this to yourself. Oh, I have exams. I'm going to do it after.
Yeah.
If every single time something stressful comes up in your life and you stop training, you're never going to get to a good physique.
That's true.
If you can apply the same thing to your business. If you get busy and you stop working, your business is never going to thrive.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is you're not consistent and you're not in the gym every single day or however many days you got to be in the gym. And you for stupid reasons. It's genuinely silly reasons that you're telling yourself. No one cares what the hell is going on in your life. This is the sad, you want to call it sad reality? I call it beautiful reality of life. Yeah, that's true. Right? No one gives a shit. No one cares what the hell is going on. Your friends don't care. People don't care. The world doesn't care. The only thing that truly matters is results. It doesn't even matter how you got those results to a certain degree. Right? So if you want to sit down and complain, someone somewhere in the world is not gonna. They're gonna go and do the work. They're gonna get the results. If you want that person to be you, you have to stop complaining. You have to do it.
That's true.
Right? So that's the biggest mistake I see the beginners and people that genuinely want a good physique make. And the funny thing is they already know it.
Yeah.
They're just looking for some excuse. You know it yourself. If you wanted to get X product, what you have to do. It's very simple.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
And it's
So
the quitting part, but the quitting part is...
Yeah, 100%. So it's the fact that, you know, you get a little bit busy. You're like, oh, I'm going to let go.
I'll take off, yeah.
I'm telling you this. I train for 15 minutes a day. Anything can work as long as you're consistent and you have adjusted your variables according to. And some people might ask, how does your 15 minutes work? You're limiting your cardiovascular system. You're doing this. And okay, 100%. You're right. Here's the thing. I have programmed my intensity, my form, and my training and frequency, my volume and my frequency in a way where it works. That's it. It's not complicated at all. And you're going to have all these different experts tell you, no, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. It's so simple. It's mind-blowing. It's a game of suntanning. Yeah. If you suntan for 10 hours today, I don't know where in the world the sun's going to be out for 10 hours, but if you suntan for 10 hours, you're not going to be able to go back and suntan for 10 hours tomorrow. Exactly. You need some time off. If you suntan for 30 minutes, you can probably go tomorrow also. Exactly. Same thing. Yeah. Same thing.
But it's crazy, bro, because you know, the more that you get into the gym, the more that you start to look at, you know, different stuff that you don't usually look at, like how much water you're drinking on a day to day, right? How much food are you eating?
This is amazing that you mentioned this, because you know why? Usually you have something called a downward spiral. You start hanging out with the wrong friends. You start to do bad acts, whatever it is. How you pick up bad habits. You start to make less money. Your parents start to get like, you know, annoyed at you, and you know, you start to get fatter and whatnot. Same thing happens with an upward spiral. Starts out with you taking control over something. For you, in your case, it might have been your business in the beginning. Start taking care of your business. From business, you started leading into the gym. You led into the gym, you started feeling better, you started moving better, you started having more energy, you started having more confidence. And then from the gym, you started working more because you had more energy. And because you worked more, you made more money. Now you created yourself an upward spiral. So it's very cool that, exactly like you mentioned, you start to pay attention to all these other variables. How much water am I drinking? How am I sleeping? Who am I even hanging out with? Because I'm sure you've done this yourself. I've done it myself. I hang out with a couple of my friends that are not really in the fitness realm, and I start to hang out too late with them, and then I sleep worse, and then the next day I'm like, I feel fucking
Should I go to the gym?
Yeah. So then this starts to make you question it, right? So this is an idea of cohorts as well. This is a big topic of how medical treatment needs to be actually directly and specifically kind of coordinated to specifically hit a certain type of groups. A lot of times in medicine, we are differentiating between a lot of groups. Call them, African Americans, black people. How do we treat them? How do we treat white people, etc.? There's many different things, right? And this actually makes a very big effect because of certain lifestyles. So cohorts is a very, very big thing. And yeah, man, you take control of one thing, you've taken control of a lot of things. I'm telling you this, you look like a completely different human being.
Really?
Of course. You have lost a lot of body fat. I know it. I remember it. Right? And this is only coming at you from a positive perspective. Yeah. Right? So that's fantastic. You've 100%. Taken control of one thing. Now that's leading you to the next thing, and so on and so on and so on.
The thing that I'm struggling to do now is the food. So again, it's probably as cliche as it sounds, but because of how my day-to-day looks on a usual basis, let's say, so I genuinely just sometimes forget to eat. And I know that I need to, right? I know that I have to. And then sometimes I do feel it in the gym, because let's say the day before I had a good meal and I'm feeling good. I'm able to lift the weight and it's easy and it's nothing. And then that day where I haven't eaten anything, I feel more fatigued.
I explained it to you in terms of training now, and in terms of training, you are a master at it now. Most important thing is exposure. Yeah. Right? So now everything, you're just going to look at it from the perspective of how much exposure am I having to this. For food, the most important thing is how much calories is going in. Calories is the most important thing when it comes down to this. Then you want to take it a step further, take a look at your macros. Then you want to take a look at, a step further, go into your micros. If you hit your calorie goals, you're going to be able to control how much weight is going up. Is your weight going up? Is your weight being maintained? Or is your weight coming down? This is controlled by calories, right? Second thing is when you actually want to control body compensation. Wait, the word's not in my mind. Composition. Yes. Body composition. You want to control body composition. This is going to come down a little bit more to your macro goals. Am I consuming enough protein? Am I consuming enough carbs? Am I consuming enough fats? All right. And then the third thing is if you want to control your health to a bigger degree, you're going to take a look at the micros more, your vitamins, your trace minerals, etc. Right? So here's the thing. If you want to take control of your food, the most important thing is calories. Right? Does it matter where those calories really are coming from? Not so much. Make sure you just hit your calories as the most important thing.
And then you look at the rest.
Then you take a look at your macro goals. Then you take a look at your micro goals. And there's many different ways for you to manage all of these things. Micro goals, you could even use supplements to help that out. Macro goals, you can, we have bigger supplements like protein powder and et cetera to go ahead and help out with that. And calories at the end of the day is tied into your macros as well.
What do you think about so to try and make it convenient for me, right? Let's say just so that I can hit my set calories for the day. I was looking at, let's say, a mass gainer, for example, is a max gainer. But there was once that I went to some nutrition shop, and he took some measurements of my, I don't know what. But
they made you do a BMI where you stand on the machine.
Yeah, 100%.
Bullshit, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, bro. The only good thing about it is that it just has a scale. That's it.
That's it. But he gave me like a big bag, and he was like, bro, if you drink this, you don't need to take anything.
Yeah, bro.
else.
It's first of all, big ups to the guy, bro. Salesman, bro. Right there. He created the problem, showed you the problem, and then he tried to sell you the solution.
Yeah, he was like, you're underweight. You need
man,
this.
My G, bro. See, that guy knows his shit.
But it's all BS.
Look, it's not that it's all BS. At the end of the day, it's a tool, right? But here's the thing: if I wanted to consume a certain amount of calories from a mass gainer, bro, just there's so many different things that you could have actually just gone ahead and used it. At the end of the day, it's a tool, right? It can help you out. Someone that's struggling to hit their calories, you could go ahead and put olive oil into your shake. That's going to give you calories. You could go ahead and use dextrose. Do you know what dextrose is?
No.
So we have different types of sugars, right? We have different types of carbohydrates. Now, let's say our table sugar, this is half fructose and half glucose. When you consume it, half of it is going to be more so metabolized by your liver, and the other half by your muscle cells and etc. Now, the problem is that a lot of people will actually tell you is that there is a higher limit on how much you should be consuming of this because it's processed and etc. It's going to be leading to fatty liver and etc. Again, fatty liver, all of these things are related to how much body fat you got going on. And yes, sure, 100% how much you're consuming, but it's to do with overconsumption and body fat levels. That's the most important thing. Now, in terms of a mass gainer, if you were to go ahead and take dextrose on the other hand, dextrose is pure 100% glucose. So it's not going to be metabolized by your liver. Sure, it's going to cause a massive spike in your blood sugar levels, right? But is that better than nothing? Yeah, 100%. So you can just go ahead and throw some dextrose in it. And funny thing, dextrose costs 1 to 2 dirhams.
Really?
1 to 2 dirhams. Yeah, dextrose, you can even do it through an IV form. So for example, when you go to, if you get a burn, usually they do it in terms of a burn. If you have a burn and you go to the emergency line, usually they give you something called saline D10, right? So it's basically saline solution, which is a certain, it's a fluid that has a certain amount of sodium in it. And it basically has 10, usually means a 10%. So there's 10% dextrose in that. That's giving you calories. Right? That's a very cool thing. That's a very, very cool thing. Yeah, you get calories through an IV. So yeah, man, in terms of food-wise, I'll just tell you, would you rather have a mass gainer or a cake?
Oh, cake.
Go and have the cake. Yeah, bro.
Honestly, at this point, I'm just trying to eat as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'm not really in the room to lose any more weight. I'm just trying to eat.
Amazing. You have already nailed it down to the most important thing. How much you're consuming is the most important thing here. So we always want to take a look back because this actually tells us and allows us to understand sustainability. Everything is to do with sustainability. If you have to follow a certain goal right now and you have to eat a specific type of way, but it's not sustainable for the rest of your life, I can guarantee you're not going to be able to get a good physique and keep it. When I was cutting down over the past 10 weeks, like I mentioned, I was having McDonald's every day. I was, what else was I having? I was having Shake Shack, McDonald's. Very nice.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Just counting my calories. That's it. Counting my calories, hit my trace minerals and etc. using supplements and some higher nutritional foods. And yeah. That's it.
And that's it.
Yeah, I broke all the rules, bro. I trained fasted. I trained for 15 minutes every day, and yeah.
But protein is all good, right? Protein should.
Everything is, bro. Everything is a tool. Is a hammer better or a screwdriver?
It's the same. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It depends on what you want to use it for. Yeah.
There you go. Now you nailed it. Exactly. You could use a hammer to nail a wall, or you could use a hammer to hit yourself in the head.
This is a funny question, but what's the best protein flavor?
Best protein flavor, in my opinion, right now, barbells. Chocolate milkshakes, the one that you can get at the gas station, fantastic. And it's not an actual protein powder, by the way. It's actually like chocolate milk. It's
really?
Freaking fantastic.
But there was one that I was told about, the It was like a big protein jug.
Yeah.
You know, the powder.
If you want to talk about powder-wise, dimetized ISO 100 chocolate cocoa pebbles.
Oh yeah, no,
Cocoa pebbles.
Coca-Cola pebbles.
Cocoa
Okay.
pebbles. Yeah.
Fruity pebbles is good.
I'm not a big fan of the fruity ones. I don't know. I like the vanilla ones taste a little bit too like milk heavy. I'm a big fan of milk. I grew up drinking milk every day. But yeah, felt weird.
Fruity pebbles, dude. Come on.
I
But
don't
you know
know.
which ones also the Cinnabon ones.
I'm not a big Cinnabon fan.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So just chocolate and milk.
Nutella. Give me Nutella. I'll finish 200 jars. I had Nutella last night.
Yeah.
I had a Nutella shake last night from this place called Freeze.
Oh, freezes banger.
Yeah.
Freezes.
Yeah, the jars, like they get the jar and they put like a Nutella in it. Ooh, I finished it. Crazy.
Too much chocolate though. No?
Bruh, why? Who said so?
Well, it
You
gives
get
you
a-
acne, yeah.
Acne is a cool one. There's a lot of people worry about acne.
Does it not give you acne if you have too much chocolate?
Let's dive into it
Let's
because
do it.
this is really cool.
Yeah.
Right? The process of acne. We don't have any evidence showing anything directly causes acne. No foods, nothing directly causing acne.
Mm-hmm.
What causes acne, seems like it, is overall holistic stress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you consume too much sugar, this is going to spike your insulin levels very high, which could lead to a pro-inflammatory state, which again, leading to digestive issues, etc. Sure, this is a stress. You going ahead and working out a lot, this is a stress. Your liver enzymes could spike. You could take steroids, your liver enzymes could spike, etc., leading to more oil production, etc. It seems like the biggest thing with acne is what is causing that stress. Could be many different things holistically, right?
Because sometimes they just tell you, oh, acne is caused by stress. Okay,
Yeah.
but there's like...
Yeah, but what is stress? No one's educated on stress.
Yeah.
No one's educated on stress. And this is my biggest pet peeve. Everyone says stress is bad. Hell no, stress is the most amazing thing in the world. Stress tells you are actually doing something.
Yeah.
Right? You can take a look at it like this. If I tell you stress is bad, stop stressing, would you have this business? Would you have this, would you have this
that's
body?
true,
Would you
yeah.
have everything? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Stress is good. Lacking the ability to adapt to stress is bad. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the biggest thing that I always mention to a lot of people. You want to make more money? Let me teach you how to adapt to more stress. This is where your nutrition comes in. This is where your training comes in. This is where your supplementation comes in.
That's true,
This
yeah.
is the most important thing.
Because essentially, if you give up every time you're stressed,
Yeah.
you're not going to progress in
You're never
anything.
going to be
yeah.
able to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Training is a stress. Life is a stress. Dating that girl is a stress. Everything is a stress.
Everything, yeah.
Right? Especially my girl. My girl is a stress. Right? Everything is a stress.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know, damn, man, that's crazy. I learned so much stuff. But there's one thing, bro, that I've seen it multiple times on social media. And until now, I still don't know what it does. Genuinely. Ozempic. What is that? Dude, I've seen people say, I'm on Ozempic.
Yes. You see, this is my topic, man. This is what I love.
Because they say I'm on Ozempic, I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
So from what I know, I'm going to give you the summarized version of what I know about Ozempic. Ozempic makes you lose weight. That's all I know. What does it actually do?
Beautiful. I love this topic.
Yeah.
I have fights with people about this topic on a daily basis, and
Crazy.
I convince them. We are not supposed to be losing weight and staying at a lower weight at all. Let's say this. Who is the target audience for Ozempic to begin with?
Fat people.
Fat people. What does Ozempic do? Ozempic is basically in a group of class of drugs called GLP agonists, right?
Okay.
What GLP agonists actually do, you have receptors in your body, right? You have something called glucagon-like peptide receptors. Now, what this does is that it actually tells your body to secrete insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone.
Okay.
You eat food, your body produces insulin. Your storage hormone of insulin actually basically pulls that blood sugar either into the muscle or into the fat to store it, right, for later energy. Now, what does this go ahead and do? It's an agonist. So it basically binds with the receptors and stops insulin secretion. What this does indirectly, it's basically makes you feel more satiated, feel fuller. You don't want to eat more. But here's the thing. Most people who are fat, it's not a problem of them actually being fat. It's a problem of they don't have enough muscle and they're living horrible lifestyles.
Yeah.
If they just fix their lifestyle and they train and etc., you're going to realize they're going to have a lot of muscle. And just having a lot of muscle solved 90% of all the issues. so here's the thing. What happens is these older guys or these people, they take Ozempic and now their satiation is less. But here's the thing. It was never a problem of overconsumption of good foods. It was a consumption of bad foods and probably not moving enough and not having stimulation enough. So now if you take someone that was eating shit and you just make them eat less shit, all you've created is nutritional deficiencies. Right? Now,
because he's not eating enough and then he's eating worse.
Exactly. It's actually a very cool compensation mechanism. Because you're not eating enough good nutritional foods, you're consuming more calorific foods. We're programmed for calories because calories are the most important thing. We want more energy, right? So here's the thing. Now, if that person has ate less, he's lost weight, sure. What did he lose? Remember the topic that I explained to you in the very beginning about training? He's lost muscle, he's lost bone density, he's lost fat, he's lost everything. So now you have this guy that's fatter, not fatter. He's lost weight, he has less muscle mass, less bone density, and now he's had so much exposure to this drug that he needs to come off. Comes off. Because he comes off, he has even less stimulation to maintain that muscle and that bone density. And he starts to overconsume all the foods that he was missing and all the times he wanted to eat. And now you get this person to rebound back up. But because he did it so quickly, he has gained a lot more fat and he has now even less muscle mass and less bone density.
But it is a cycle.
It is a cycle.
That just goes to the worst.
Exactly. So what is the fix to this cycle? Just train. Just train. I would even argue if I give this person steroids and then I give him Ozempic, he's much better off.
Wow.
Much better off because there's a consistent stimulation for muscle gain, right? Muscle is the fix. Older people, if they had muscle, there would be less falls, they'd have consistent abilities, they wouldn't need help going to the bathroom. This is one of the biggest selling points, one of the most important things when it comes to older people. The busy individual, if he fixes his lifestyle, he'll be able to work more, he'll be able to eat better food, he'll be in a much better shape, he's going to be able to make more money, he's going to be able to set himself up for his career for his whole entire lifetime. Younger guys, they weight train, their bone density is going to get better, they're going to have better confidence in school, they're going to have better abilities, their survival rate is going to go up, their chances of progressing 900 different metabolic diseases, 900 different brain issues comes down just by training, just by being more active. We have this very huge surge of children being inactive nowadays because of mobile phones technology, and games and etc. Now, while this is fantastic, I'm scared to see what the future is going to be holding for these guys.
That's
mind-blowing.
True.
Mind-blowing. This is why, again, you remember the topic that I mentioned. What's more important? Training has been the most important thing in this whole life. The more I study medicine, the more I realize bodybuilders were right this whole time. Medicine is beautiful because it explains everything to me. Now I understand why I did everything, right? Bodybuilders were right the whole freaking time. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable.
But, I want to kind of jump into the, funny you said bodybuilders. So, in the past, let's say 3 or 4 years, you've seen a lot of people start to post on social media. Online coaches, post videos on Insta. You do the same.
We had the surge, right? In the very beginning, especially in Dubai, during COVID times, I think, or even before, you had this massive wave of everybody became PTs. Everybody became personal trainers and everybody was a master at this and etc. After that, everybody became real estate agents.
Oh, that's true.
Everybody became real estate agents. Now, we're having a huge surge of these guys going and become coaches. So they're coaching coaches on how to make money. But the funny thing is, if you knew how to make money as a coach, why the hell didn't you make money yourself? But I get it. At the end of the day, it's a business model and it's a very, very cool thing itself. And I've had mentors myself, don't get me wrong. So,
of course.
But at the end of the day, when you have a massive market like this, you're going to have scammers. You're going to have a lot of people that are, misinterpreting a lot of these things. But
I think honestly, even though they're doing that stuff, I think they're giving a lot more exposure into bodybuilding, working out.
It's fantastic, bro. It's fantastic. I could even argue OnlyFans blowing up was a fantastic thing because everybody sees bodies and they're like, oh, you got to get jacked. You got to get big and jacked. So,
That's good. Funny enough, I can learn so much. Forgot his name, but it's that one guy that does like science-based workouts.
Jeff Nippert.
That's the guy. So, bro, alone from his Instagram page.
Jeff Nippert is an awesome guy. His big thing is about being scientific. I can tell you this, as a med student, not everything is in PubMed and studies. There's a lot more outside of PubMed and studies that you cannot pick up just by studying. Right? It gives you the explanations that you're looking for, but Experience has been the big.
Of course.
I said it again. Bodybuilders were right this whole time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's crazy. Well, you know, with social media being such a big thing, I've seen your videos. Your videos are awesome. Do you kind of are you still trying to post? You know, are you still trying to do online coaches? Because I've seen that you have, you know, the MB only gains. You have, and now you have MB only health. I've seen that.
Yes.
So, what was that journey like? You know, starting both of them.
Man, the journey of starting all of these things has been a big, crazy thing. I started coaching since I was 15 years old, 16 years old. After competing for the first time, I thought I knew it all. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start coaching. And I started all out with a friend of mine called Louis. And I coached him in the very beginning. I was like, Louis, I'm going to put you on a diet. I knew fucking nothing. I knew fucking nothing. I started out, but the one thing I knew that has served me well from day one has been I was the guy that was in the gym every day. And funny enough, I landed the right tool from the beginning, just because I knew it. I was in the gym the right way. Even though I didn't know shit about food, I didn't know anything. I helped my friend Louis. He lost a lot of weight. He was in this delusion as well that his family, like, you could not get abs, or it was not our thing. I'm gonna put his picture up here, so I'm gonna show you his picture as well. But Louis' transformation is one of the most mind-blowing transformations that I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of. You know, it kind of goes like from being someone that seemed like he was impossible for him to get to a good physique, and now he has a physique that's worth, you know, influencer level of physique. So
wow,
it's this guy.
Let's see. Let's give it a rating.
Shit, I lost it. Here.
Wow, yeah. Ooh.
And by the way, we turned him into the, he won, I think it was in 23 or 24, he won the strongest man in the UAE. So world's strongest man in the UAE. Yeah.
That is something, yeah.
That was a very cool story. That the way I made him peak and make weight, mind blowing. I had him dehydrate, but up his food like the night before, and he lost a bunch of weight. And then he went to the competition. 30 minutes before the competition, we gave him an IV. He filled up with fluids. Boom, went and destroyed everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. But it sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really, really cool. So, we had that brings me into Only Health, and bro, we had our Only Health nurse waiting. So as soon as he made weight, sit down, boom, put an IV in his arm, fluid kind of going. As soon as the fluids were done, we gave him some fluids. The thing is, if I was to give him fluids through his mouth, it would have made him feel really heavy. So giving it to him IV, intravenous, worked fantastic. Please consult your doctor. Do not do anything without your healthcare provider.
Well, you know, you told me this already, but until now, have you seen like quite a drastic difference with the knowledge that you're getting in med school?
Man, I think
and just like working out and coaching and MB only health.
Yeah, I think the choice that I made to study medicine was a perfect one. It's fantastic. I don't regret it one bit. I enjoy it. I have very many different interesting conversations with my professors. Whenever I speak to them, I typically land on very interesting conversations. And it's my passion, bro. I live it every day. Of course,
yeah.
I live it every day.
It's different when you're doing something you love. It's different.
It's completely different when I see a theory being put on the board right now, and when I read it, I can think of the person this happened to. Completely different.
Yeah.
Compared to the person that's sitting down and reading it and trying to find a way to memorize it. I often get asked, is like, how the hell, like, do you remember so much from the class? Because I remember what the hell happened. I just got an explanation for what the hell has been happening to a guy that I've been coaching for like 3 years.
I think because you can apply it, you remember everything.
Exactly.
Which is the best part.
Exactly, man. That's the thing. That's why I say it. If you're gonna study something that's freaking worth it.
Yeah.
And I made this mistake at times as well, where lucky for me, it wasn't as bad. But studying is not everything. It really is not everything. Application and working is a huge chunk.
Yeah, very important.
If I didn't take that gap, 2 years of gap year, and I just worked, I would never be in the place that I am at right now. And
it was meant to be.
I really think so, yeah.
But so, you know, before I jump into a quick game of true or false.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so apart from eating more, staying consistent, what's another advice that you can give me?
Take steroids.
No.
I'm joking.
No way. No, but honestly, I think steroids is just for a person that might face, let's say, body dysmorphia and he's never happy with the way that he looks. I think steroids is the only way, maybe. But I don't know. What's your opinion on individuals taking steroids?
If you're taking steroids to compete, 100% understandable.
Yeah.
Because the business of competing comes from wanting to see the craziest people. It's an entertainment business. So if you think about it like this, if you're a business owner and you make money based off how many people are going to come and watch it, are you not going to be keen on letting these guys push their bodies to max ability so more people want to come and watch it because it looks crazy? Of course you are. It's business at the end of the day, right? Now, if you want to compete, you got to take it because it's genuinely like it's a standard. If you don't take it, you're going to be at a disadvantage unless you are freaking Kratos. I don't know how you were born with like, you know, unless you're Kratos. Otherwise, like you have even that we don't have anyone that can actually right now in today's day and age actually keep up with the guys naturally. Hasn't been the case. Hasn't been the case. Competitively, you can have some guys that have turned pro naturally, but the thing is they're not at the top level, right? Now, second thing is you're gonna have a group of people that take steroids or more so testosterone as a replacement testosterone therapy. This is fantastic. You see a huge improvement in a lot of people's health and etc. You got to make sure that this is something that you're actually diagnosed with low T or something we call hypogonadism. And if you were not and you don't have a doctor that actually proves that, there's a bit of a problem. But I challenge a lot of these guys that say, oh, I had to take TRT. Did you actually fix your lifestyle? Did you fix everything that would have positively affected your testosterone? Because testosterone is a very interesting thing that actually works in the upward spiral.
Yeah.
You start to work more, you start to do more,
Yeah.
and your test levels actually raise up with it. 100%. There was a study done a long time ago. I just read it somewhere. I don't remember if it was an actual study or not, but you can take two guys and one of them drives around the city in a shit car, and you take another guy and you make him drive around in a Ferrari or a Porsche or something. The guy that drove around in the Porsche and the Ferrari has higher T levels now than the other guy, just because of the fact that he's, you know, experienced the high life now.
Yeah.
So T is a very cool thing. It works in an upward spiral, and most of these guys they take T in a bottom position of their life. It could be something that plays a very big placebo to them. They're like, oh, now my T is high. I can go work more and etc. And they even feel it.
Yeah.
They even feel it, especially if you go someone from having low T to high T. I have seen this, and I have actually had a bunch of clients that I've coached, and this has happened. Starts out on low T, takes T, on it for a few years, comes off, his natural T is higher than before. Even though a lot of people will tell you when you take testosterone, you're going to get shut down over time. If you were fertile before, usually you'll gain your fertility back depending on how much exposure you've had and what compounds you were also taking. You can take some compounds that are very harsh to your body, and you can take some compounds. You know, the mother drug at the end of the day is testosterone. So if you...
Of course, they have some negative side effects.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
You know, damn, but
if you take T for testosterone replacement therapy, by the way, there shouldn't be any.
There
shouldn't be any side effects, no. Because it's like a identical hormone to the one that's in your body that we're just replacing it with. Problem is, your body is very smart. Sometimes it will bring the levels of T down because it wants to actually decrease growth factors. Sometimes you need to decrease growth factors in your body. Because think about it, your body's not just caring about if you're a muscle machine.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's fighting off infections, it's fighting off cancer cells, it's doing a lot of shit in your body right now. So sometimes overriding that system can be a little bit dangerous to your overall health. And you see this also with growth factors and, you know, some peptides, if you go ahead and take it, that they usually say taking it can promote cancer growth.
Yeah.
Understandable. If you are a person with a shit lifestyle and you put a growth factor on it, now you've created an environment for even worse things to happen.
That's true, yeah.
Fix your lifestyle.
Similar to Ozempic, I guess. Exactly.
It's so funny, bro, because it all just comes down to, are you training?
Yes.
If you just train, if you weight train, I don't mean just train. If you weight train, 99.9% of all issues are going to be solved. I did a blood test for, I typically do my bloods very regularly.
Okay.
There is a marker called HbA1c, hemoglobin A1c. This is actually something that shows your average blood sugar control over a long period of time, roughly around three months. And it goes in like percentages. Mine was fantastic. I don't mean good. I don't mean better. I don't mean one of the best. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was for people that don't know, it was 4.6, 4.6 is fantastic. I was consuming Ben & Jerry's ice cream every day.
Wow.
Just because I have more muscle. That's it. Weight training is the cure. Weight training is the fix. Not running, not yoga, nothing else. Even if you want to say Pilates up to a certain point because it doesn't become progressivable.
Yeah.
For you women that are scared of weight training and you want a good, low barrier entry ground, Pilates is a fantastic thing.
That's good,
Just enter it. Over some time, you'll realize that it's hard for you to keep progressing with these limitations of equipments. Weight training and Pilates are the same thing. All of these exercises that you're doing are the same thing. It's just weight training allows you to take that a step further. That's it.
But it's before I go back to the original question, the advice, there was a question that popped into my head. Do you see bodybuilding as a career path still now? Only bodybuilding?
Compete?
No, right?
No, I don't think so. Because if I'm being honest, I am, as an athlete, you have to be delusional.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the biggest key points to me actually winning and, competing for a while and being an athlete. This has gave me the strength that an athlete, that a person really needs is athletes are delusional. You have to be delusional.
Yeah.
The boxer is delusional.
You have to be some sort of crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not, you can never brainwash yourself to go ahead and do something stupid hard. The best people that have came up with craziest innovations, that have done mind-blowing things are delusional. And in order for you to be able to coach people, in order for you to be able to understand different things to a certain degree, you need to be a little bit more grounded. And, you have to be able to kick both into different gears depending on what it is. And over time, I have realized that it's definitely something I could do if I really want to. But I just find it fascinating that there's all these other aspects of life that I could go ahead and discover and see and do rather than just go ahead and compete. This doesn't mean that I will never approach to reach my best. I still am delusional to a very big degree. To a very big degree, I have to be delusional. If you have never been delusional at any point of your time, I think you have wasted one of the biggest things that you could have ever experienced in your whole life. I remember when I was competing for the first time at 16, there was a guy, I'm good friends with him actually now, his name is AB. I remember seeing him on Instagram and I saw, shit, this guy's competing against me. I was natural, he was big, he's been competing for a few years. He was actually one of the young guys as well at that time, so I was 16, he was like 23. I was like, I used to look up to him. It's like, shit, I might be against this guy. I was like, either right now, what are my options? Either right now, I could give up and not compete, or the one thing I have control over is how much effort I put in this.
Yeah.
Either I will kick this to the ground and I will go ahead and I will do every single thing I could do to go and win. Even if I can't win, I'm gonna do everything in my control. And the funny thing is when I went, he didn't really do too good in that show. Sorry, JP. It was really true. He didn't. Unfortunately, he didn't really do too good in that show. And me and him actually, fate didn't have us actually being in the same class. We competed in different classes, and I did pretty well. Even if I didn't I didn't win. I placed 4th place. My first show at 16, but I was so satisfied within that I felt
unbeatable. Yeah.
Unbeatable. I would go to class when I came back from competing. I would sit down and I would listen to the teacher study. I was so confident. I was so confident that I became one of the top students in math for a very short period of time until I started stopped giving a fuck about math again.
Yeah. But it's crazy what confidence can make you do.
It's mind-blowing. Everything is to do with confidence. And if you've never been delusional in your life, you have missed out on one of the most unbelievable superpowers in the whole entire world. It's a superpower. It 100% is a superpower.
Bro, before that, true or false? So again, let's go back. Apart from steroids, what is another piece of advice that you would
actual advice? Get rid of people.
Really?
Get rid of people. Because chances are right now, if you're not where you want to be, you're around people that are keeping you there.
Yeah.
Even if indirectly. Get rid of people. Start building, start doing the things that you want, and you're going to attract the right people. So yeah.
You know how it is. If there's 5 millionaires around you, you're going to be the 6th one. Yeah,
exactly.
Your circle is important.
If you got 5 jack guys around you, you're going to be the 6th.
Exactly.
Failure training is very interesting. If I am the person that you're looking up to, based on how hard, or I'm the person judging you of whether or not you're training to failure. If I'm a pussy, you're going to become a pussy.
True.
Right? Failure is something that's based off of someone else's standards. Who do you learn failure training from? I learned it from Dorian Yates, one of the best bodybuilders in the world. He's one of the biggest advocates in the world for failure training. And I can tell you now, to my standards, I don't think he was training failure at some lifts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can
standards now, yeah.
I can find some lifts that I would be like, he wasn't really training the failure. He could like maybe get like one.
But you think it's till failure is crucially important.
Yeah.
For growth.
100%.
I have a quick round of true or false games. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I think you're gonna like these.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's start off with true or false. Lifting heavy weights will make women bulky.
Wrong. If you lift heavy weights, you're going to build muscle. You're going to go ahead and actually build more density. If your structure is like a man's, you will become bulky and you're going to look like a man. Everything is to do with your genetics and your structure. Now, you could maybe not lift for certain body parts and etc. so that you can avoid it. But most men in general, in terms of attractiveness, you're never going to look like the guy you're never going to look like the girl that's on steroids. That's one thing. Second thing is, at the end of the day, you're going to realize insecurities of girls are very interesting. Guys don't even see them.
Yeah.
So in terms of guys versus girls as insecurities, guys don't even realize half the insecurities that girls actually have. And funny enough, we don't even find them as insecurities sometimes. We don't think it's something you should be ashamed of.
That's true.
But no, it doesn't make you bulky. No.
Sick. This one's nice. You can target fat loss in a specific area of your body.
You cannot target fat loss in a specific area of your body, but you can definitely get an area leaner if you put on more tissue there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question number 3 is, supplements are essential for muscle growth?
Absolutely not. The only supplement that you could say should be essential is probably vitamin D and creatine, just because it's very hard to actually get it from everything. Yeah. It's still possible.
Yeah.
If you consume 1.5 kilo of meat, you're going to get enough creatine.
Good luck with that.
And if you're black, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get enough vitamin D. Simple.
That's funny you said that. It's actually true.
Yeah, because you have melanin production over a long course of time. Your body's not going to be able to absorb vitamin D very good.
That's crazy, bro. I never knew that.
Yeah, so most African Americans, black people, are usually deficient in vitamin D.
So they have to take supplements for that.
Yeah. You can also get vitamin D. You can also get it some from food also. Very little, but yeah.
That's crazy. Next question is, sweating more during a workout means you're burning more fat.
Not directly, no. Maybe you're burning a little bit more calories, but for example, why would you sweat? Your sweating is a cooling mechanism. Your body's trying to cool down your body by sweating. Now, here's the thing. If you are in a very hot environment inside, your body could burn a few more calories just trying to cool you off quicker. That's it. Otherwise, if that calorie burning is in a state where you're in a deficit, maybe you could burn a little bit more fat, but no, not directly. It's not something you should count.
That's why you have the fighters, when they're losing weight. They go in a sauna.
And fighters, when they go and lose weight, that's more so because they have to make weight in a very short period of time. You can't lose that weight from fat in such a short period of time, so it comes from water weight.
Yeah.
And when you go ahead and lose that water weight, you got to try and replenish that quite quickly as well.
Damn. Next one is 0 carbs when trying to lose weight.
Absolutely not. If anything, I think that would stress you out even more and you won't be able to perform. And because you can't perform, you can't stimulate enough muscle. And if you can't stimulate enough muscle, now you go back into the Manjaro cycle of losing weight, but not fat. So...
No.
Nope.
False.
False.
The more... this one's good. The more sore you are after a workout, the better the results.
I was a big believer of this. I always used to chase soreness when I was very young, but no, not true. As everything is to do with your data. Can you show that you're actually progressing the ability to lift more, to do more overall work? If so, if you're not getting sore, it's not necessary. But some sort of soreness typically tells you whether or not you have stimulated enough. It can be used as a tool, but it's not.
Nothing. As long as the data shows an upward trend. Yeah. Sick.
You could sleep worse and you would have a lot more soreness from a typical workout that doesn't get you sore.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
So, if that's the case, just don't sleep. Don't sleep, you're going to get sore.
This one's, I love this one. Even though you talked about it, but you can out-train a poor diet.
You can.
Yeah?
You can to a very big degree.
Because you said
It's
training
limited.
training is the
It
most
can
important.
become, look, it can become limited at some point, but yes,
Okay.
I believe you can to a very big degree.
I saw a video. The next question is nice because I saw a video. I saw the first like 4 seconds. Stretching before workouts prevents injuries.
This has been my newest trigger, by the way. Stretching is a scam. Stretching is bullshit. Stretching does not work the way you do.
But what type of stretching are
This
you?
is coming from a med student, a injury management coach. I have rehabbed people out of disc bulges, out of knee keyhole surgeries, out of meniscus tears, out of ACL tears. You name it, I've had guys rotator cuff tears, rotator cuff injuries, pec injuries, knee injuries, hip injuries. I've had a lot of experience when it comes to injuries. Stretching is bullshit.
Really?
Stretching is a tool that can be used as a stepping stone to get you to a place to actually go ahead and lift and actually build muscle and actually lift through full ranges of motion and build strength.
Okay.
The key, the longevity goal, the main thing is, can you do every movement that your body is able to do under more weights?
That's it.
If you can do that, you're going to be injury-free. Why do football players get hamstring tears? I don't know. Maybe because they don't train their hamstrings as much as a bodybuilder would.
Yeah.
Train it through full ranges of motion. And this is also a big thing. I fucking hate athletic trainings. You know, the athletic trainer jump from left to right, this and that. Bullshit. You want to give me a sprinter that does nothing but explosive movements, and I will be the guy that just weight trains. I've been extremely strong. I can squat ass to grass 200 kilos, and I'm lean. I guarantee you I can beat them in a 100-meter sprint. I guarantee you. Yeah. This is one of my biggest pet peeves that a lot of people think
So
that.
what would you say is, so usually before a workout, before I go to the next question, but usually before a workout, I would go, do the rotator.
Here's the thing.
cuff
That's not a
stretch.
stretch.
Yeah.
That's just a contraction. That's an exexercise.
Yeah.
A stretch is a static stretch. If I, for example, do this or
that shit,
I do anything.
I heard
Here's the thing. Stretching is a very good tool for people that believe it's a good tool. Anything really is a good tool for anyone that believes it's a good tool. If you tell me you're a big believer in stretching and I tell you to stop stretching and you actually stop stretching, chances of you getting injured is a lot higher now.
Oh yeah.
Right? Just because you believe it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do with your beliefs. So here's the thing. Use it to your advantage. Understand that you need to get to a place where you can load joints through their full ranges of motion. Right? If you do that, you're going to realize 99% of your problems are already gone.
Crazy.
Yeah. Weight training is the cure of end of and be all of everything. Genuinely, I find it mind-blowing how many different things could be prevented just if you have more muscle and you're less body fat.
So
wild.
I've never seen the benefits of weight training as much as I've seen today from the amount that you've told me.
Yeah.
But so the next time I see someone stretching in front of a mirror in the gym, do Next question. Rest days are just as important as workout days.
Nope.
No?
I don't take any rest days.
Zero? And that's because you tailored your workouts, right?
Exactly. Perfect. You mentioned it now. Everything is to do with your programming.
I take one.
No problem.
I take one rest day.
No problem. I used to train 4 days, 2 days a week. I have busy guys that need to not be, they need to be off the gym for many days. It's all to do with how much workload do you need to do, how you have programmed it. I hate the idea of being inactive. I feel like it gets me lazy. Just me being in the gym for 15 minutes every day makes me feel fantastic. I feel very productive. I get up. It's the first thing I do. So I train fasted. I get up, I train, and then I'm on with my day. There's a saying, I think it was in Japanese, I forgot what it was, but it was the idea behind if you do one hard thing or you start your day with a hard thing, everything else is easy.
It's gonna be seen. Yeah, it's gonna be. You're gonna see it as easy.
Yeah.
Bro, I wanted to ask you. Fuck, I had the question. I genuinely had the question. Fuck. It was a good banger question as well. Fuck. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I remembered it. Bro, I wanted to ask you. So, I heard multiple opinions, but usually, because of how my day is, I usually do my workouts at night instead in the morning. Is there a big difference between working out in the morning or at night, or is it the same thing?
My advice for a lot of people is to try and train in the morning. And I'll give you my justification. This is a good general rule of thumb. If you ever ask anyone for advice in fitness and they cannot give you a proper justification that makes sense to you, it's useless. Useless. The reason why I say train in the mornings is because when you're up and you're early, you woke up and you're fresh, you're ready to take on the hardest things. If you go ahead and you go put yourself under stress in the morning, you have all the rest of the day to actually relax and let the stress come off. Train too close to bed, you're going to be still very stimulated. So it can affect your sleep quality. That's my biggest only thing that I say about training at night. Some people do it and they feel fine, and their data shows still positive results. Go for it. Your life, you have to see which one suits you best. I grew up a lot of my life training at night. At night, yeah. And I didn't make as much progress as I could have if I just trained in the morning. I'd say that.
I'll be honest. I went to the gym a couple of times.
You get a lot of people that say, "Oh, I go to the gym in the morning and I feel lazy or I
not
can't
at
do
all.
it."
No, I was gonna say the opposite. So
I was gonna say this as well.
I went to the gym a couple of times in the morning and I felt way better than.
You have experienced that, but the thing is, you were probably consistent at doing it for that period of time, right? Yeah. But the average Joe that says, "I go to the gym in the morning and I feel off and I can't do it," it's because you have been spending your whole fucking life sleeping and training at night. Give it time. Do it for a month consistently, and then come and tell me.
Emad, bro, thank you so much for coming.
Bro, thank you so much for having me.
I loved it, bro. It was such a. It was exactly what I needed, bro. Especially now that I'm starting to go back in. I'm filling up my brain with this information.
Oh man, this is awesome,
it's
bro.
Crazy, bro.
Anytime you tell me I'm
here. Yes, I'm here. But you see a difference, right? You see,
bro. I told you this already.
Yeah,
I told you this already, bro.
I'm trying to do hard work.
It's not just in your physical appearance, Zeyad, that's changed. It's in the way you carry yourself.
Yeah,
it's changed.
Really,
people will tell you this too.
Right. That's nice to hear, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming. I can't wait, bro, for the next one. We're gonna do another round. Once I'm 10 times bigger, hopefully soon. Yeah, consistent.
Tomorrow, steroids.
Yeah, steroids. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys for watching.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Of course, check out Emad's Instagram, YouTube, everything, all social media pages. Until next time, see you. Bye bye.